When I got started with smart home, I created home automations for every single action. Locking a door, adjusting the thermostat, getting the kids ready for bedtime, notifying me that the laundry was done, and much more. But nowhere was this more true than lighting. Automations to turn on lights, automations to turn off lights, to turn on lights only during a specific time of day. I quickly had over 120 automations, and it was a little challenging to manage. In this video, I'll show you how and why I removed over 50 home automations using Home Assistant. On this channel, I cover how tech can make you more productive, so if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. Let's do this. Let's start with why I did this. I think home automations are fantastic. By automating repetitive tasks in life, I can save time and focus on things that are higher priority or that I just enjoy doing. But as the number of separate automations grew, it became more difficult to track what was doing what, when, and where. You need to ensure all of your home automations work as intended, not only on their own, but also together. Let me give an example. Our kitchen and living room is one open space. There are smart lights under the kitchen cabinets, hanging from the ceiling and in a lamp. There's also a smart fan and a bunch of smart home sensors all around, including several motion and millimeter wave sensors for presence detection. Now, my family uses these lights in different ways at different times of day. So when I first got started, I created separate automations for each of these use cases. One automation to turn on the pendant lights during the day, another automation to turn on the cabinet lights in the evening, another automation to turn on the ceiling fan based on the room's temperature and human presence, and then an additional set of automations to turn each of these things off. These automations were all governing the behavior of similar devices in the same space, but I had to jump in and out of 5 different automations to see the details or to troubleshoot. This meant it was consuming more of my time instead of saving it. All of this made me wonder how I might reduce the total number of home automations without losing any of the functionality. This brings me to how I did it. If you're using Home Assistant, but you're not using the choose function in your automations, I think you're missing out. Choose allows the automation to pick what to do from among several choices. Do you want your lights to turn on with motion and turn off without human presence? Do you want your ceiling fan to also turn off if no one is in the room? Use the choose function and combine all of these seemingly separate automations into one. You can have multiple triggers, each with its own trigger ID. Then you can choose what the automation should do based on which trigger ID was triggered. Let's look at some automation examples with and without the choose function. All right, let's take a look at a few automation examples. So previously, I had several automations here before I implemented the choose function. Let's open up one of these right here, which was an automation to automatically turn on the lights in our kitchen and living room based on motion. I have 4 different triggers here. These are all just 4 different motion sensors that happen to be around that space. I'm using multiple motion sensors just to make the automation trigger faster depending upon where or how we are entering this space. So when any one of these motion sensors detect a motion, it would then check a few conditions. Is it between 6:40 a.m. and 11 p.m., which is just when we are generally active and awake, and then it would check to see if the brightness level in that room was low, meaning we might benefit from having the lights turned on. I'll come back to these other conditions in a moment. If all that was true, it would then turn on both the counter lights in the kitchen and the lamp in the living room. So a pretty straightforward motion-based automation to turn on the lights. But I had another automation, this one for the cabinet lights in our kitchen. It's using the exact same triggers, the same 4 motion sensors, but this time we only want the under cabinet lights to come on if it's in the evening, between 5 p.m. and 11 p.m. If that's true, then it will turn on the kitchen cabinet lights. But there's clearly a lot of similarity in these two automations. They're both based on motion, and they're both turning on the lights, and they both have a condition about time and the brightness level in that room. But that's not all. I had another automation for turning off all of these lights. So here it just says, if there's no occupancy detected for 10 minutes, which is based upon a combination of a millimeter wave and a motion or PIR sensor reading, then go ahead and turn off the counter lights if they're on, turn off the kitchen cabinet lights if they are on, turn off the lamp if it's on, etc. In addition, I also have a fan in the living room. And here I had a separate automation that would say, hey, if the room temperature is changing in the living room, and it's during a time when we are awake, and it confirms that someone is in that room for a minute, and it's over a certain temperature in that room, then go ahead and turn on the fan. So I started thinking about how I could consolidate these automations into one using the choose function. And I've done just that. All those automations now exist in a single automation. And let's take a look at how I did that. So I have a new automation here called kitchen and living room lights on and off. So I've got several triggers here under when to begin with. All 4 of those same motion sensors are here as triggers, meaning when they go from being clear to detected. I also have a separate trigger for that temperature sensor in our kitchen and living room, another one for time of day, and finally for when no human presence is detected in that room. So basically I'm taking all the triggers that were in the other 4 to 5 automations and bringing them all here into this one automation. And what I do is I add a trigger ID for each of these. To do that, you click the 3 dots right here and you would hit edit the ID, and then you can add a trigger ID. You can name this anything you want, anything that's meaningful to you. Now, why am I adding this extra field of trigger IDs? Well, let me show you. So once I get the trigger set up, I'll just jump down here to the then do. So I've got the choose function here, and you can see I have it choosing between 3 different possible courses of action, depending on what was triggered. And this is where that trigger ID comes into play. So in option 1, it's saying, test if any one of these conditions is true. And it's looking at those different trigger IDs. So it's saying if any one of these things was triggered, in this case, any one of these 4 motion sensors, if they are triggered, then confirm it's between that time of day I mentioned before, and confirm there's a low level of brightness, meaning it's dark in that room. If all that's true, then go ahead and turn on the counter lights and the lamp just as before. But also, if the time is in the evening, then go ahead and also turn on the kitchen cabinet lights. So right there, I was able to bring in all of those kitchen and living room light turn on actions here into this one choose command based upon different trigger IDs and conditions for time of day. Let's go on now to option number 2. Option number 2 looks at a different trigger ID, this time based upon temperature changing on a temperature sensor in that room. This is going to be for the ceiling fan. So it says, if that temperature sensor changes any reading, right? If the temperature changes at all, or if the time of day is triggered. Time of day back up here was once the day begins for us at 6:40 a.m. That's when all of us are kind of up and active in that space. Either one of those 2 things can trigger this set of the automation, which is all about turning on the ceiling fan. And I use both of these because I want the ceiling fan to come on if it's over a certain temperature threshold, either when we just enter the room or if it's later in the day and the temperature is changing while you're sitting still in that room, meaning you could enter the room and it's below 78 degrees, But as you're in that room, the temperature could go above 78 degrees. So by having this temperature change trigger, it can make sure the fan turns on accordingly. So it checks for those triggers, the time of day condition, the temperature condition, and it also makes sure that someone's actually been in that room for at least 10 seconds. I don't want the fan turning on if you're just quickly passing through that space. If all that is true, then it says, okay, if the fan is off, then we'll go ahead and turn it on. I like to do if then because I don't like the idea of just calling an automation to turn something on or off if it's already in the state I want it to be in. So if the fan is off, then go ahead and turn it on. Now let's hop down to the third option here. This one is going to be about turning everything off, turning lights off and turning the ceiling fan off. So in this case, it's triggered by when there is no occupancy detected in that space. So when no one's been in that space, and up here I define that as 5 minutes. So here's a trigger. When no one's detected in that space for 5 minutes, when that is the trigger, then conditionally execute several actions. If this light is on, go ahead and turn it off. If the lamp is on, turn it off. If the kitchen cabinet lights are on, turn them off. And finally, if the ceiling fan is on, turn that off as well. So just to recap, I brought in all of the triggers I want for turning my lights on and off and turning my ceiling fan on and off up here. I gave each a unique trigger ID, and then I used the choose function down here. And I have 3 options, one for turning lights on, one for turning the ceiling fan on, and one for turning off the lights and the ceiling fan, based upon different conditions and which of those triggers was actually triggered to determine what to do. Finally, I'll just come back to this part here about the and if, which are just the overarching conditions for the automation. I like to have kind of a backup in my smart home that allows anyone to override an automation if they don't want it to run. So I have an overall what I call the kill switch. If this virtual switch or input boolean is toggled on, then no automation in my home will run because every automation I build contains this condition. I then have an overarching virtual switch for lights. This means this is included in all of my lighting automations. If this switch is on, then none of the lighting automations will run. And then I get very specific. This is a lighting virtual switch just for the kitchen and living room lights. So if this is on, it will not automatically turn on or off those lights. And finally, I have a similar logic but for the ceiling fan in that space. So I kind of start broad and get more specific. Any one of these can be toggled on or off immediately using our smart home dashboard. So that's what that is in case you're wondering, but that's not necessary to implement kind of the logic of the choose function and streamlining all of your automations. So in this case, I was able to reduce 4 or 5 automations down to just 1. You may not go for this approach. You might have another method that works better for you, or you might not care. Part of my intent is to share what's worked for me in case it may be helpful to you. Using the choose function in Home Assistant automations has simplified my life by enabling me to delete over 50 automations without losing any of the functionality. Let me know in the comments if you have other tips for streamlining your home automations. If you're interested in home automation ideas, you'll want to check out my video playlist, which I'll link to. Hit the like button if you found this helpful, and subscribe to the channel for tech reviews and tutorials that help you become more productive. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. All right, let's see what other automations need to be removed. How did that get here?